Is Apple quietly killing the dynamic island 2 years before the iPhone 18 even launches? Because if these new iPhone 18 Pro Max leaks are even half true, the way your next iPhone looks, feels, and handles is about to change more than it has in nearly half a decade. We aren't just talking about a slightly faster chip or a camera that takes marginally better photos in the dark. We are talking about an almost edge-to-edge screen that defies physics, a radically upgraded camera system that borrows tech from professional DSLRs, a processor built on a futuristic 2-nanometer process, and a lineup shakeup that might actually trick you into spending more money without you even realizing it. If you're holding onto an iPhone 12, 13, or even a 14 hoping for the big one, this might finally be the signal you have been waiting for. Let's unpack exactly what is going on with the iPhone 18 Pro Max, why the dynamic island might be on life support, and whether this is finally the upgrade worth dropping over $1,000 on. First, we need a quick reality check before we get too excited. Apple has not officially announced a single thing about the iPhone 18 yet. Everything you are about to hear comes from supply chain reports, manufacturing leaks, and early design schematics. That means specific details can still shift, but when you look at all these leaks together, they paint a surprisingly consistent picture of exactly what Apple is aiming for in 2026. Let's start with the absolute star of the show, which is the display and the future of that controversial dynamic island. According to the latest and most credible leaks, Apple is shrinking the dynamic island again. This isn't just a tiny tweak where they shave off a millimeter that nobody notices. The cutout is reportedly getting small enough that on first glance, the phone will look almost like a full, uninterrupted slab of glass. Think about the bezels on your current phone right now. Now, imagine them thinner, tighter, and pushing all the way to the absolute edge of the frame. Is the dynamic island dead? Not technically. The sensors for Face ID and the front camera are still physically there, but it is starting to look a lot less like a feature and a lot more like a tiny compromise that Apple is actively trying to erase from existence. You might be asking why Apple would do that after marketing the dynamic island so heavily. The answer is simple. Immersion sells. When you're watching a movie, gaming, or just scrolling through photos, that little black pill at the top of the screen is visual noise. It cuts into your content. By shrinking it down and tightening the bezels, Apple gets you a display that feels less like a piece of tech and more like you are holding a floating image in your hand. We are also expecting better HDR performance and higher peak brightness for outdoor use, creating that super clean, almost futuristic front look that people have been asking for since the iPhone X came out. The dynamic island isn't gone yet, but make no mistake, it is definitely being pushed into the background until the technology exists to bury it completely. When you flip the phone around, the design changes continue, and this is where things get controversial. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is rumored to be slightly thicker and a bit heavier than the current models you see in stores today. Now, usually, thicker and heavier sounds like a downgrade. Nobody asked for a brick in their pocket, but you have to realize why they're doing this. It is almost entirely to fit a significantly bigger battery. Apple seems to be finally leaning into the idea that people will accept a few extra grams of weight if it means more screen-on time, more streaming, more high-fidelity gaming, and less anxiety about finding a charger at 5 p.m. It is a trade-off that power users have been begging for, and it looks like Apple is finally listening. The back glass is getting a redesign as well. If you look at current generations, there is often a two-tone look with glossy and matte finishes mixing around the camera bump. That is reportedly gone. It is being replaced by a single, uniform color sheet of glass for a much more minimalist, polished feel. It's about making the device feel like one solid object rather than a collection of parts glued together. On top of that, we are expecting new finishes that lean away from the bright, playful colors of the standard models. We are hearing about a deep burgundy, a rich brown, and new purple. These colors are designed to give the Pro Max a more premium, maybe even more mature look. It is subtle, but it is that classic Apple move, making small aesthetic changes that instantly make last year's phone look just a bit dated when you put them side by side. However, the most important reason a lot of people upgrade every few years isn't the color of the glass. It is the camera. And if you care about photos and video, this is where things get genuinely interesting. The leaks point to a triple camera system on the iPhone 18 Pro Max with some real hardware changes, not just the usual computational magic or software tweaks. We are expecting a variable aperture on one or more of the lenses. If you don't know what that is, think of it like the pupil of your eye. Right now, your phone camera is fixed. It can't change how much light it physically lets in. With variable aperture, the camera can physically open wide for night shots to soak up light or tighten up for sharp, crisp daytime photos with better natural depth of field. This is the kind of tech you usually only see in professional cameras, and bringing it to a phone is a massive engineering challenge. Alongside that, we are looking at stacked sensors which promise faster readout speeds. Faster readout means less motion blur when you're taking pictures of running kids or pets, lower noise in your night shots, and better detail retention. And yes, Apple seems to be pushing optical zoom even further, aiming for up to 10x optical zoom on the Pro models. That is true zoom, not digital crop where the image gets grainy. We're talking about seeing details across a football field clearly. On top of that, there's serious talk of the Pro Max testing a 200-megapixel stack sensor. Now, don't get tricked by the number. That doesn't mean every photo you take will be 200 megapixels and clog up your storage. It gives Apple room to do smarter pixel binning, where they combine data from multiple pixels into one super pixel, allowing for sharper crops and cleaner zoom. Pair all that hardware with improved low-light processing, next-generation HDR, and AI-powered tools for video, and the gap between a phone and a dedicated camera shrinks even more. Think about automatic subject tracking that actually works, background blur and cinematic mode that doesn't mess up around your hair, and stabilization that looks like you're using a gimbal. Suddenly, your phone starts feeling less like a casual shooter and more like a serious content creation tool that fits in your pocket. But here's the catch. All of that camera magic, the 200-megapixel processing, and the AI features need serious power behind them. Enter the A20 Pro chip. This next-generation processor is rumored to be built on an advanced 2-nanometer process. In the world of chip design, 2-nanometer is a massive deal. In simple terms, shrinking the process node allows you to pack more transistors into the same space. More transistors mean more power, less heat, and significantly better battery efficiency. Combine that with a rumored 12 gigabytes of RAM on the Pro models, and you are looking at a phone designed not just for today's apps, but for the next several years of heavier, more demanding software updates. What does that actually mean for you in daily use? It means faster photo and video processing, so you aren't waiting for an edit to save. It means smoother high frame rate gaming that rivals dedicated consoles. It means more reliable performance when you have a ton of apps open in the background, and potentially longer-lasting performance over the life of the phone. So, your iPhone 18 Pro Max in 2029 won't feel as sluggish as older devices do today after a few major iOS updates. It is about future-proofing your investment. Of course, performance isn't just about the chip inside the phone. It is also about how your phone connects to the world around it. The iPhone 18 series is expected to bring a new modem for faster, more stable cellular data, especially in crowded areas like concerts or stadiums where your signal usually dies. Add in Wi-Fi 7 and next-generation Bluetooth, and you're looking at better speeds at home, lower latency for gaming and video calls, and more reliable connections to your headphones, your car, and your smart home devices. None of this sounds flashy on paper. Nobody buys a phone just for a modem, but if you have ever had your FaceTime call glitch out or you are a movie buffer at the worst possible moment, you know that these invisible upgrades add up fast to create a much smoother experience. Now, let's talk about the thing everyone actually feels every single day, battery and charging. Because of that slightly thicker frame we mentioned earlier, the iPhone 18 Pro Max is rumored to pack a physically larger battery than its predecessor. When you combine a bigger gas tank with a more efficient 2-nanometer A20 Pro chip, you are looking at a device that should comfortably last a heavy day of use. Social media, GPS navigation, 4K video recording, gaming, without you nervously hunting for an outlet at dinner time. Charging is getting faster, too, with reports of quicker wired speeds and improved MagSafe wireless performance. That means less time tethered to a wall and more time actually using the phone. So, when can you expect to see this thing? And more importantly, how much damage is it going to do to your wallet? Apple is reportedly planning a staggered release strategy for the iPhone 18 lineup. The Pro models, including the iPhone 18 Pro Max, are expected to launch first around September 2026, with the regular iPhone 18 models potentially following a few weeks later. That slower rollout gives Apple more room to manage supply chains and, crucially, ensures the high-end versions get into the hands of early adopters who are willing to pay top dollar first. As for that dollar amount, here is where things get a little strategic. Right now, the leaked lineup pricing structure looks like this. The base iPhone 18 starting around $799. Then a new mysterious iPhone 18 Air model at about $999. Then the iPhone 18 Pro at $1,099, and the iPhone 18 Pro Max starting around $1,199, with storage options going all the way up to a massive 2 terabytes for the power users. The interesting twist here is that Air model. It is rumored to sit between the base and Pro phones. It might have the powerful A20 Pro chip inside, but only a single rear camera. In other words, Apple may be giving you Pro-level speed without all the Pro-level camera hardware, effectively pushing people who want the best of everything right up to the Pro Max. It is a clever way to pull more people up from the $799 range into the $1,000 plus category without ever officially saying, "We raised the prices." So, who is the iPhone 18 Pro Max really for? If you're sitting on something like an iPhone 12 or 13 right now, and you've been holding off for a big upgrade, this might finally be that moment. You are getting a cleaner, almost all-screen front, a much more serious camera system, a massive jump in performance, and significantly better battery life. If you already have a recent Pro Max like the 15 or 16, the decision will come down to how much you care about that nearly bezel-less design, the new zoom capabilities, and the extra headroom for gaming and content creation. Which brings us back to the big question we started with. Is the dynamic island dead? Not officially. It's still there. But everything about these leaks suggests Apple is slowly phasing out its visual impact, shrinking it, hiding it, making the screen feel more and more like a pure sheet of glass. In a few years, when under-display camera and Face ID tech are fully ready, the dynamic island, as we know it, may disappear entirely. The iPhone 18 Pro Max looks like the biggest step in that direction yet. So, now I want to hear from you. What is your take on these leaks? Would you upgrade just for a smaller dynamic island and a bigger battery? Or are you happy to sit this one out and wait for the first truly hole-less, all-screen iPhone of the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay ahead of the tech curve, hit that like button so more people can see this video. Share it with a friend who is due for an upgrade, and consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon for more deep dives into upcoming Apple leaks and future tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.